To those non-Muslims that like to question Muslim women or Muslim men and ask them why they're not fasting, that isn't any of your business why they are or are not fasting. And if you feel entitled to judge a Muslim on whether they're fasting or not, I think you need to pick up a book and actually start reading the Quran, the Hadith, and listen to Islamic lectures on Ramadan. Because if you understood Ramadan in totality, you will not be asking that question. And it's not for us to answer your question. It isn't really your business. I mean, like, understand you might have some questions or whatever, but go to the proper sources for this information. Don't go to Muslims and ask them all this, like go to an imam, go to someone with a higher understanding of Islam to answer your questions. Don't go to a regular everyday Muslim because they might not know all the answers. And the fact that some people feel entitled to judge those who are not fasting, you really gotta educate yourself. There's information out there about Ramadan. In the Hadith, it are Islamic lectures every year. Because if you are not educating yourself on Ramadan and all the exemptions that exist, you will not be needing to ask these questions at all. Because sometimes they can be intrusive. It's personal. No other Muslims should feel pressured into telling them their personal business as to why they aren't fasting. There are exemptions out there that exist for women. There are more for women than there are for men. There are exemptions out there for men as well, but particularly for women. People like to judge women on whether they're fasting or they're not fasting, and it's like sometimes it's a way for you to mind your business, okay? It is. And because sometimes asking these questions, you're digging into somebody's personal life. Like, we don't know you like that. You are not required to know this information about us. Because this is for Allah. This isn't for you. We're not fasting for you. We're not fasting to get acknowledged by others. It's not about that. This is for Allah. Since it's about our worship to our Lord, we are not required to answer your questions. If you want to know more, there are plenty of lectures about this very topic that explain in more detail and even answer people's questions, because there's a multitude out there from previous years and stuff. You can just read up on all, listen to all these lectures. You can even pick up the Hadith and learn to read on some of the Hadiths about it. But when it comes to reading, whether it's the Quran or the Hadith, it's best to also have you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, to direct those questions towards someone with a higher knowledge of Islam, someone who has studied it. So, and I'm not talking about just a regular old Joe. No, I'm talking about someone who actually went and took Islamic courses and received their degree in Islamic studies and such. Not just any nobody. So, because I personally have had this experience where someone at work asked me why I'm not fasting, and it's like, why? It was a very annoying and awkward situation. Because this woman, not Muslim, don't know anything about the faith, and I'm like, why should I feel obligated to answer you as if you're the authority? you're not. And I recently seen someone on TikTok um, who found this to be annoying as well. People are wanting to ask them why they're not fasting and so on and so forth. If you if you know that Muslims are required to fast during Ramadan, maybe you should look at all the details before you feel that entitled to ask someone all these personal questions about why they like. There are books on this. There are videos on this. Stop asking everyone why they aren't fasting, because it's not your business. It really isn't your business as to why someone is fasting or isn't. Because this holy month is dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is for the worship of Allah. It's not for human beings. Yes. I mean, because there be so many people that be out there thinking they know something. It's just because they heard it from the blue moon, from the grapevine, or whatever. Yeah. And this is what I mean by there being a lot of lectures available for you to watch and learn. Because this particular one, Imam Muslim Family Center, they do it like every year. So this has a lot of information for you to learn about Ramadan. Point is to don't annoy Muslims out here. Don't annoy us. We shouldn't feel awkward and I'm like, just if you notice a Muslim are not fasting, leave it. Just leave it. Because you might have all these questions circling in your mind and all that stuff. Oh, she must not be that Muslim and all these other things. Like, how about, maybe you don't need to know. It's just simple as that. If you're trying to study Islam, then maybe you should go to the proper sources to learn about what the exemptions are for women for not fasting and what they do to make up that fast. That would be the more proper way of going about it than to annoy people, because not every Muslim is on the same level of knowledge, and not everyone is willing to educate you on the little things that many of us are simple everyday people. We don't have that knowledge, so it's not always best to go to like some random Muslim or just a Muslim you may know, because we don't have all the information, and it's okay to not have all the information. Sometimes we come across certain issues in our life, like health issues, that require us to learn more details. And some of us are smart enough to know those details before they even happen. But anyway. So on Islam question and answer, this will be a great source for those who want to know who is exempt from fasting during Ramadan. So the summary of the answer is this. These are the valid reasons for breaking the fast during Ramadan. 1. Sickness. 2. Traveling. 3. Pregnancy and breastfeeding. 4. Senility and old age. 5. Intense hunger and thirst. And 6. Compulsion. And they give they give examples from the Quran and the Hadith. So I often go to this website for when I have any questions about stuff. So right now on here, I'm seeing this Hadith. And when you have other questions, sometimes they'll show stuff from the Quran. So sometimes they show stuff from the Hadith as well. and what the scholars say and so forth. So, just at a glance from what I'm seeing, it for I on the number 3 when it says pregnancy and breastfeeding, that can also include menstruation. So when we're on our period, we cannot fast or pray. And there are ways to make up those days of not fasting. It depends on like what the person's ability is. So sometimes they make up those fasts by fasting on days outside of Ramadan, and sometimes they feed people to make up that fast. So, but if a person is like, they're pregnant and they're unable to fast entirely during the entire month, it can be extremely difficult because for women we have a different, each individual person will have a different level of difficulty depending on how we. Some people do it by just feeding those in need, or by fasting, and some people do both, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So everyone's different. But these exemptions are not like punishments or anything like that, or it's not. It's actually because Allah does not want to bring us into any severe difficulties or anything. So, because if you're to the point where you are suffering from malnutrition or you're dehydrated or something like that, you have to break your fast. And because it's often, not everyone has access to food, and some people do pass out, they do struggle with different types of illnesses, and you will not know what those illnesses are, and it's not meant for everyone to know what everyone is suffering from. So, to those of you who are non-Muslim, here are some of the exemptions for y'all to understand, but don't. One of the things that you please do not do. Don't go up to a Muslim, whether you know them or not, a Muslimah, and ask them if they're pregnant or they're breastfeeding to figure out like why they aren't fasting. Like just leave it alone, because it's not really any of your business. Just leave it alone. Like this is very personal. So when you guys are trying to judge people on why they're not fasting or ask the question if they're fasting or not, that information is really not for you to know. It's not. Like, that's like asking someone if they're on a period today. It's like this. No, that's crossing a line. So please understand that it's very annoying. It's really annoying, and you're out of pocket for asking Muslims or Muslim men why they are not fasting. Because certain things that, you should leave certain matters that does not concern you alone. Just leave it alone. If they're not your wife, if they're not your husband, leave it alone.